All right.
Nobody hears it, they're not texting.
The hour being 7 p.m. on Monday, November 25th. I'd like to call to order the City of Laconia City Council meeting. Before we go any further, though, I'd ask you all to rise and join Councilor Hoffman in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Councilor Hoffman. We're joined this evening by Recording Secretary and City Clerk Katie Gargano. I'd ask her to please call the roll.
Counselor Cheney.
Here.
Counselor Susie.
Here.
Counselor Hoffman.
Present.
Counselor Haynes.
Here.
Counselor Bogert.
Here.
Counselor Felch.
Here.
Mayor Hosmer.
Present. We're also joined this evening by City Manager Kirk Biotti and Finance Director Glenn Smith. Agenda item number 7A, which your City Council regular meeting minutes of November 12th, 2024. Minutes of the Laconia City Council meeting of November 12th were distributed to the members of the City Council on November 18th. With no corrections or changes submitted to the clerk, the changes will be accepted as the minutes will be accepted as distributed. Agenda item 9, citizens' comments for matters not on the agenda. If you're here to speak to a matter that's not on tonight's agenda, you just step forward. Okay, seeing none. Move along to public hearing under 13A. Public hearing soliciting input on the draft electric aggregation plan per RSA 53-E:6V. Notice of this public hearing is made available in the November 15th, 2024 edition of Laconia Daily Sun, posted at Laconia City Hall, Laconia Community Center, Laconia Public Library, and the offices of the SAU. I'd like to open the public hearing on this matter at 7:02 p.m. If you'd like to speak to this matter in public forum, now would be the appropriate time. Seeing no one stepping forward to speak to this matter, I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:02 p.m.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
the representative from Freedom was supposed to be here tonight. He's got a family emergency. He's probably going to be late, so maybe by the time we get to the agenda item, he may be here if you have any questions, but we do have representatives from the your electrical aggregation committee here if you need to.
Fair enough. Agenda item number 14, 14A is a WOW Trail presentation from Alan Beadle. I don't see Mr. Beadle here.
I don't
No, that's been moved to the next meeting.
Oh, okay.
Move to the next meeting. I'm going to, coming up on 15 now is the mayor's report. I'm going to forsake my remarks this evening and go right to council comments. Are there any council comments this evening? How about committee reports? How about liaison reports?
Actually, I'll go back to council comments.
Went past.
Yeah,
I'm just going.
I'm going back. I just want to let everybody know that the children's auction is coming up. It'll be December 10th through the 13th. It's going to be at the Belknap Marketplace in the former CVS. There's also another unit right next to the radio station, which will be checkout and pickup of items. Anybody ever has any questions about the auction, please contact me.
Thank you, Councilor Felch. Moving on to agenda item number 19, citizens request to comment on current agenda items. If you'd like to speak to a current agenda item, now would be the appropriate time. Seeing no one stepping forward either, go right to the city manager's report under 20.
7:02. Good thing I prepared. So in your packet tonight is the Laconia projects update as well as my economic development report. I'll move relatively quickly through these as most of it is a repeat. The Appleton Street project that was we were able to sign off on the other last meeting. We had the contract that just needed to be approved. That's been taken care of and that has started, but the bigger majority of it will be in the spring. Skipping over to the Winnipesaukee River Basin project on page 3 of my report. We'll talk about this more as we move forward. We will get a presentation as part of this. We're gonna ask for it. The cost of our participation within the Winnipesaukee River Basin, just on their capital type, I forget the exact line, forgive me, but it's in their capital and operational side is going to go up probably about $500,000 on our end from what we budgeted for this year. So we will be working on that. Finance director, myself, and our Assistant Public Work Director, met on Friday to start discussing this. Excuse me. And we will have a little bit more of a broad presentation for you, probably in the next, probably 2 meetings to get a little bit more information on this.
Mr. Mayor,
Why don't we let him finish, and then you can ask a question.
The only other piece I have is, on this anyhow, is the Laconia State School update. Unless something's changed, the conceptual will be on December 3rd at 6:30 here. So the Pillsbury Company will be presenting to the planning board their conceptual plan. First step generally, and for a large project anyhow, with the planning board is a conceptual, just to say, hey, this is what we're thinking about doing. They will have a little bit more than just a brief statement. They'll actually have some type of presentation of what they're looking to do to build on. It's public hearing, obviously, because it's a public meeting. It's their planning board, but they will also be taking a listening session as well. So if the public does have comments about, what kinds of things they'd be looking for, what their hopes are out of that piece of property, they're going to be here to hear that. I don't know if there'll be a whole lot of back and forth with them, but at least they want to hear what has to be said. I discussed with them that we've done this in the past, and we had a lot of really great ideas, and those ideas have been passed along to not only them, but anybody who applied to take over this property. So they've been hearing what the public has had to say for a long time, and they continue to want to do that. They've made it very clear to me and the department heads that have been working with me on this that what the public has to say is very important to them, and I think that's what they're looking for. The other piece is the monthly economic development report. I will turn your attention to the second page of it. The CPI number, although it went up a little bit for the month, you'll see we annualized out at 2.99, so for the first time we've been under 3% in quite a while. But we'll see how the next 3 months go.
That's it.
And that's all I have for my report.
Counselor Susie?
thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question goes back to Winnipesaukee River Basin project, okay? I expect that it's all the cities or towns within that program,
Correct.
okay? Are they all being impacted the
Yes.
same way?
By their percentage of, the way it would normally be, percentage of how much they pay into it, yes.
If I
It's-
remember right, last year when we went through this, with the other rate they had increased, everything else like that, our percentage went down. Is that still?
I'd
true?
have to look at back and forth. I think I'd have to look. I'd have to look at where our percentage is, but it's, yeah.
Okay, and we can expect, I know we really don't have much say in this at all, okay? $500,000 is a lot of money, but it
Is a lot of money.
So we will be seeing a presentation.
Yeah, we're gonna push to get something to come in and at least talk about this. I can't make them, can't guarantee it,
Right.
but that's gonna be our goal.
Okay, thank you.
And I don't think, and I'm certainly not the only manager within our group that's having these same conversations with their boards and public right now. So
Right, I realize that my fellow councilors reminded me as they hold the marbles.
yeah, that's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions of the city manager?
There's just one.
Yeah,
Please.
go right ahead.
Kurt, is there any more information on the house on the corner of Bowman and Academy?
The
Demolition?
Yep, our attorneys and our code department have been working with them. They know that that it has to either come down or be remediated. They're working on the time frame now. It's going to be a short amount of time frame. I told them that we don't want to go into snowfall, adding more weight on that roof.
Okay.
So that's
All right,
Yep.
thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Moving along to agenda item number 21A, Resolution 2024-26, approval of bonding in the amount of $1,100,000 to fund repairs and improvements to the Weirs Public Boat Docks. We are just moving this item along. I know you're all familiar with it, to a public hearing on December the 9th. Happy to go through this. You want to just touch on this a little bit, Kirk? so
yeah.
we don't
No, this was.
overlook something essential.
Yeah, no, what we talked about last month with the Weirs Docks, we could have put this in a resolution for last time. We didn't. We just the way it lined up timing wise, we did it different. So this is going to be a big key piece of this resolution is if it's approved to bond, it goes to the finance committee for their work with the bonding company for the rates and terms and all that. So included in this, I haven't talked to the chair yet, but we'll have to schedule a finance committee meeting as well around this meeting so we can handle, if it passes, so we can take care of getting this funded.
Okay. Series of 3 motions in regards to this matter. The first is a motion to move to waive a reading of Resolution 2024-26 in its entirety, read by title only, so made by Counselor Cheney, seconded by Counselor Haynes. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none? Yes, if you're in favor, raise your hands. 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. Thanks for the head shake there, Katie. Next, we're looking for a motion to move a first reading of Resolution 2024-26 relative to approval of bonding in the amount of $1,100,000 to fund repairs and improvements to the Weirs Public Boat Dock. So made by Councilor Phelps, seconded by Councilor Cheney. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. The 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. Finally, on this matter, looking to move to schedule a public hearing on December 9th, 2024, during the regular city council meeting to gather public input prior to any action being taken. So made by Councilor Cheney, seconded by Councilor Felch. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes. Agenda item number 21B, 2024 second half sewer warrant. Right now, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the 2024 second half sewer warrant. So made by Councilor Susie, seconded by Councilor Haynes. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I'd ask if you're in favor to raise your hands. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes. 21C on our agenda, authorization of boat dealers to act as agents for the city of Laconia. Boat dealers listed, I'll read off in just a moment, have been operating as agents for the city in the collection of boat fees for the last several years. The state has required these dealers to show evidence of a surety bond in order to authorize them to collect fees for the city and state. The city can cover those dealers under our current bonding insurance at no additional cost, provided they are authorized annually by the city council to act as the city's agent. Fiscal year 2024, the city received approximately $114,000 in boat registration fees collected among these dealers and the city clerk's office. Right now, we're looking for the city council to authorize the following boat dealers to act as agents for the city: Flightcraft General, Northwater Marine, Watermark Marine, Paugus Bay Marine, Lakeport Landing, Irwin Marine, Winnisquam Marine. We're looking for a motion right now to move to approve the renewal of the boat agent agreement between the state of New Hampshire DMV and the city of Laconia boat dealers. So made by Councilor Felch, seconded by Councilor Huffman. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative. Finally, on this matter, I'm looking to for a motion to move to authorize the city clerk to sign the boat agent agreement on behalf of the city of Laconia. So made by Councilor Felch, seconded by Councilor Hoffman. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, if you're in favor, raise your hands. There we go, 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes. Coming along to item number 21D right now is a Taylor Community Pilot Renewal Agreement. Current payment in lieu of taxes, a pilot agreement between the city of Laconia and the Taylor community is due for renewal. The current agreement was entered into on September 18th, 2015, set to expire March 30th, 2025. The current agreement calls for the Taylor community to voluntarily provide payments to the city of Laconia as a pilot pursuant to New Hampshire RSA 72:23-n. The current formula used to calculate payments is 1/12 of the actual rental payments for units at the Ledges and Woodside, but will not equal less than $150,000. That's the floor. Over the terms of the current contract, the average amount is $230,000 per year. Over the last 3 years, the average amount paid to the city of Laconia as a pilot is $300,000, and this is reflected in the city revenues. This information was provided by Kirk Beatty, our city manager. Right now, I'd be looking for a motion to move to renew the payment in lieu of taxes pilot agreement between the city of Laconia, Taylor community for 10 years, keeping the current contract language, and to authorize the city manager to sign any and all documents related to this matter. Are you going to bring the motion?
No, I want to have some discussion.
You do after you get a first and a second. So would you like to bring the motion?
Make
Get the
it
ball?
first.
Look at that. All right, good stuff. Is there a second? Counselor Bogert, second. Is there any discussion on this motion? Go right ahead, Counselor Susie.
I've asked the city manager some questions along this, and at first I didn't know if it would be a better idea to table it and bring it up later. But the questions come around, I know that the Taylor Home has purchased a lot of property on Walker Street, Cottonwood Avenue. That's in my ward, and my questions were, what was happening to those properties? Were they coming off the tax roll and falling under this or not? A couple of the property owners that I spoke to before they sold told me that the Taylor Home told me that would remain on the properties, okay? Also, I asked the city manager, take a look, what was the total valuation if he had that, or if it was possible to get it on all the Taylor properties, including what they purchased, between Union Avenue and the old, auto body shop and everything else like that. So I didn't know in my mind if we were ready yet to accept this as is, or we should wait till at least gather that other information. That was what I was gonna ask the rest of the council.
Okay. So would you like this to be, motion to table, or would you like it assigned to a committee?
Well, if it was assigned to a committee, I'd ask it to go to finance committee, but if not, I'll ask for a motion to table.
Is it appropriate to go to finance, or is it appropriate to go to operations? It's a funding of an operation. It's kind of a ways and mean issue. Counselor Felch?
I had asked the city manager some questions as well. As far as those houses, they do go into this program. And if we look at what we've done in the last 10 years, 10 years ago, it was 68,000. Last year, we got 342,000. So it keeps climbing every time they buy new property, every time the value goes up, every time rents go up. And it is a fee that they could say that they don't want to give us at all. They don't have to give it to us.
I understand, may I?
Sure. I mean, if Counselor Felch has finished making his point.
I understand what you're saying, Tony. There was a written decree that came out through the courts when this first went through. And all I'm asking is that, let's find out if we're really abiding by that, okay? Along with the values that have been put forth. I mean, that's.
So, if I can stop you right there, it doesn't have anything to do with the values.
Right.
It has to do, and they have to provide annually submit to the city rent rolls, which detail the actual receipts received for that period. So under significant obligation, if they are submitting rent rolls that are fraudulent, I mean, that's a problem, right? But right now, we're assuming that they're not, and that the rent rolls they submit to the city to calculate this are in fact accurate.
I haven't seen anything, and my question about the properties on Walker and Cottonwood and Union Avenue, I think it's still open.
But they're not germane to this pilot.
So it does include all independent living cottages, apartments, and houses, anything they rent, other than nursing and that type of stuff.
So, the
It
way I read
includes that,
this,
so,
the formula for annual payments, 1/12 of the actual rental payments for units at the Ledges in Woodside.
So it doesn't include everything else.
So when I had conversations with them,
Listen.
so we're gonna have to add that in the language. I did, when I met with them, I have that in my notes. They include everything, so, I will have to adjust that in the contract. As far as how much is a building valued at, the one thing I'll just say is if a house was just on one of the streets that they bought, I'll be able to pull within the last few years. Our non-taxable property doesn't get assessed the same way. So like if you ask me right now, how much is the state school property worth? We haven't assessed it. We don't, because it's not taxable, so it wouldn't go through the assessment process. So won't be as easy on, some of the buildings will be, but a lot of it, I won't be able to just pull up a record and say, this is what it was assessed at.
What I'm concerned about is that, looking at the overall net value, especially the new properties, they come off the tax rolls. So let's say, just as an example, it's $10,000 to the city in taxes. But when it moves over to the other side, it might be only $2,000.
depending on what they're renting it
I'd like
for.
to understand what we're losing in tax roll properties compared to that, compared to what on the other side. I know we're still providing services, and we should, okay? There's still residents of the city of Laconia, that's great. But I just wanna make sure that there's a equitable situation there. So I would like to make a motion to table it until we get this data, and we'll present it to the city council.
Second.
It's non-debatable. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. 6 votes in the affirmative. The motion to table is successful. 21E, Resolution 2024-27, relative to authorizing the city manager to accept and expend a grant from the Partnership for Public Health in an amount of up to $450,000 to fund a community paramedics program within the Laconia Fire Department. I know we've all been made aware of this in presentations made by Chief Jubert previously. In the documents, it indicates that the Partnership for Public Health will be managing the contract. It is a 3-year contract, the first year, and this has been this is for the Collaborative Mobile Integrated Health Program between the Laconia Fire Department and the Partnership for Public Health. It's a Northern Borders grant, was awarded to fund this in its entirety for the 3-year program. There is no cost associated with, for the city. Chief Jubert has asked that the City Council approve the proposed funding and the MOA between the City of Laconia and PPH, Partnership for Public Health, for 3 years of the collaborative in the amount of $450. The goal of this is to improve the health and safety of Laconia residents and also authorize the city manager to sign all documents related to this. This is actually going to go to a public hearing as well on December 9th, 2024. This is a 1-year contract, the first year being $190,000, and then subsequent years will have to be, a contract will have to be renewed. So, right now, I'm looking for a motion to move to waive a public reading of Resolution 2024-27 in its entirety and to read by title only. So made by Counselor Cheney, seconded by Counselor Haynes. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes. Next on this matter, looking for a motion to move a first reading of Resolution 2024-27 relative to authorizing the city manager to accept and expend a grant from the Partnership of Public Health in an amount up to $450,000 to fund a community paramedic program within the Laconia Fire Department, and further to authorize the city manager to sign all documents related to this matter. So made by Counselor Cheney, second by Counselor Susie. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. At 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. Finally, on this matter, I'm looking to move to schedule a public hearing on December 9th, 2024, during the regular city council meeting to gather public input prior to any action being taken. So made by Counselor Felch, seconded by Counselor Hoffman. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes. More good news on the fire department front. Item number 21F, Resolution 2024-28, approval of bonding for the purpose of purchasing a replacement ladder truck for the Laconia Fire Department. Laconia Fire Department is seeking to purchase a replacement ladder truck. The ladder truck in need of replacement is 26 years old, in poor condition, and has reached the end of its useful life. Can no longer pass the required annual safety tests. The exact fiscal impact is conditional upon interest rates at the date of issuance. Based on current rates, the interest cost for the proposed 20-year term is estimated to be $847,000. Staff recommendations. City manager recommends approving this resolution authorizing bonds to purchase a replacement ladder truck, 13 ladder 5, in the amount of $1.725 million. One question I have, what's the principal on the bond that we're bonding?
The principal is the 1725.
And so on top of that, it's
Yeah,
$840,000
yeah.
of carrying costs.
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, I'll be looking for a motion to waive a reading of Resolution 2024-28 in its entirety to read by title only. So made by Counselor Felch, seconded by Counselor Susie. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. At 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. Next on this matter, looking for a motion to move a first reading of Resolution 2024-28 relative to authorizing bonds and notes of the city in the amount of $1,725,000 for the purchase of a replacement ladder truck for the Laconia Fire Department. So made by Counselor Felch, seconded by Counselor Hoffman. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes. Finally, on this matter, looking to move to schedule a public hearing on December 9th, 2024, during the regular city council meeting to gather public input prior to any action being taken. So made by Counselor Felch, seconded by Counselor Cheney. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in go right ahead.
Just a request, because we get one more vote on this after the, again, can we get a
show where we're at as the city with the bonds and stuff for
Yep.
that meeting? So with this added in, so we can see that, please?
we can do that.
Thank you.
If I might,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to point out, one of the issues is the prediction was 4 years to get a ladder truck.
I know.
This, we can do within 2. So I want to push hard to get this done.
Not trying to stop it, I just want to see
Okay, all
as,
right, okay.
not trying to stop it,
Thank you,
just
Mr.
trying to see as a city where we're at with our bonds.
Fair enough.
If I may, Mr. Mayor?
Say no.
Go right ahead.
Just, Council Bogart, just so you know, this does still come in front of.
Talking to your mic.
This still comes in front of the Finance Committee to review the bonds, the interest rates and all, prior to any final vote.
Thank you.
Well, you would, if I can just interrupt procedurally, they would vote to approve it, and then it would go to you to finalize all the individual, amounts and everything.
Right,
Yeah.
because what I'm
Yeah.
concerned about is how much of the bit rate, because to me, when you look at it from a very high level, I'm seeing 50% of the cost of the fire truck is in interest rates. Okay,
Maybe
which
we
is a lot of money.
overestimated. Hopefully we overestimated when
I
we see
hope
what,
so.
when we see what.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion that was proposed, indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes. Agenda item number 21G, request to make a contribution to the Laconia Chiefs cheerleading team competition trip to Florida. Laconia Chiefs Division 16 cheerleading team came in second place in the regional competition, which requires them to participate in the American Youth Cheer Nationals competition in Kissimmee, Florida. The overall cost of the trip is approximately $15,000, which is raised through fundraising. Laconia Youth Football and Cheer Organization is a 501c3 organization, is requesting a donation of $1,000 to aid in the funding of this trip to represent the city of Laconia in this competition. This $1,000 would be funded through contingencies in the fiscal year 25 budget. How much money is in contingencies? Any sense?
In mine, we can look it up. We're probably in the
So the 50K.
50,000 range.
Mr. Mayor, at what point can someone make a motion to increase this to 5?
Well, I mean, I guess you can make it at any point. We haven't made the motion yet. So if you'd like to, how about you'd like to move the motion?
I do move the motion to donate the amount of $5,000 to help fund the Laconia Chiefs cheerleading team's competition trip to Florida as presented.
And you'll second
All
it,
the-
Counselor, you'll second it, Counselor Susie? Is there any further discussion? Counselor Cheney.
With all the things we spend money on, if we can't spend $5,000 on those kids, we ought to be taken out behind the building and whipped.
Okay, any further discussion? Counselor Felch?
I just want to recognize that the girls are here. So, hello, girls.
Congratulations.
Good luck.
All right. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. Congratulations. Moving on to agenda item number 21H. This is a lease agreement between the City of Laconia Airport Authority and James and Catherine A. Labrie. This is an assignment and assumption of an existing lease agreement. As you know, the Laconia Airport Authority manages the ground leases for property contained within the airport proper. In this instance here, Eugene R. Labrie, as a signer, is assigning the lease agreement to assignees, James R. and Kathleen A. Labrie, who are assuming the lease agreement with no changes. So, Eugene Labrie is just backing out of the lease, letting someone else take it over. The balance of the lease agreement, or the remaining duration, is 36 years. The city incurs no cost. The revenue generated by this lease agreement is applied to the airport's ongoing operations. At the Laconia Airport Authority meeting on Thursday, November 21st, Laconia Airport Authority authorized Andrew J. Hosmer to sign the agreement on behalf of the LAA as chair. Laconia Airport Authority is seeking approval from the City Council for Andrew J. Hosmer as mayor or Kirk Beatty as city manager to sign the agreement on behalf of the city. Looking for a motion right now to move to approve either the mayor, myself, Andrew Hosmer, or Kirk Beatty as city manager, sign the lease agreement as presented.
So moved.
So moved by Council Haynes, seconded by Council Felch. Is there any further discussion on this?
One question, is that for a hangar or is it for a,
I
Yes,
think
it
that's
is.
the only thing for a hangar,
Yes.
yeah.
it's a hangar? Okay.
It's a hangar.
Thank you.
Any further questions? All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. That's 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes. Under unfinished business, agenda item number 22A. This agenda item is to refer the draft Laconia Electric Aggregation Plan and relevant comments and suggestions to the Electric Aggregation Committee for their review and approval in accordance with RSA 53-E:6. Once the committee approves the final plan, it will then refer the final plan to the city council for their review and approval in accordance with RSA 53-E:7. There's no direct or immediate fiscal impact to the city. The planning department recommends the city council refer the draft plan and relevant comments and suggestions to the EAC. We should be calling it from here on out. That's a mouthful for me. All right. Right now, I'd be looking for a motion to refer the draft Laconia Electric Aggregation Plan, EAP, and related comments and suggestions to the EAC for their review and approval. So made by Counselor Hoffman, seconded by Counselor Susie. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. That's 6 votes in the affirmative. That motion passes. That concludes our agenda. This evening, I'd like to adjourn this meeting at 7:31 PM.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
That'll be quicker, okay.
would you be so kind as to maybe take a picture
already
with the
doing
girls?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
I'm sorry if I